Hello and welcome to episode 64 of iRacing Rush. This will be the first time we'll be racing at Motegi on the oval. Of course, we have raced on the road course before in Super Formula, but this will be the first time we'll be taking a spin on the oval, and we're back in the Indycars. After some time, we of course won in the Talladega Superspeedway, but now we're going to try to back it up in Motegi. You'll also notice that this is actually a voiceover, not an actual live voice, because once again OBS Studio, kind of more of a fault of my own, has chosen not to pick up my voice through the mic. But I think I know why it is. While trying to record some clips and stuff for the past iRacing Esports qualifying video, I muted my mic to record something else and make sure that the audio came out okay, not my voice wasn't interrupting anything. But I forgot to unmute it, and of course, none of my voice actually picked up in this race or in the NASCAR Cup Series later on in the video. But as for the track itself, definitely a challenge throughout. You can notice the car feels a lot more loose through 1 and 2, I think, because trying to get through 3 and 4 is a lot more of a challenge. It's kind of like Darlington, except in mile-and-a-half length. 3 and 4, a lot more tighter, and you're having to back off more just to make the corner. First lap went okay though, 27.175. Second lap though goes slower, 27.318 this time around. And for the moment we're in second behind the current pole sitter Marco Pellicoro. But rolling off of the grid, multiple guys passed us in qualifying, especially Jeremy Miguel, who put down a flyer, 26.761, cleared Micah Mixer by over a tenth and a half, so we'll be forced to start 5th in this race. And of course, Motegi on the IndyCar schedule throughout the 2000s. Definitely fun to drive, at least in my experience. It's just that, again, 3 and 4 is a real challenge. And on top of that, I heard before the reason why it's mainly not on the IndyCar today is because, one, traveling, of course, all the way to Japan is really expensive, a lot of cost for the teams. But also, there was an earthquake that damaged the oval, part of it. So for that, oval racing hasn't really taken place at all in any series over in Japan. But now it looks like they're actually going to get rid of the oval at Motegi, mainly to expand the grandstands more for, of course, the road course racing there. Of course, not only Super Formula races there, but so does Motegi. As we go green at Motegi, we're able to gain 1 spot as DMA, gets a heck of a start. But this will also be a race all about patience. Of course, you need a lot more slipstream in the straights if you're wanting to go for a pass. Even though 1 and 2 is way easier, dirty air is still going to play a factor as we get down into turn 3, right on the back of Daniel Balsa. And then, of course, there was second place blinking for a moment there, so that kind of startled me. And with the bad run I had out of turn 4, basically underestimating the dirty air, Marco was actually going to get back around me. And I'm going to try to use a slipstream down the back straightaway and use that outside to get back around him. Luckily, we have a good run here, and into turn 3, we're inching ahead and stay ahead. Now going through turn 4 again, much better exit as we try to stick to Daniel Balsa's car. We definitely need that slipstream to keep up, or else we're going to be completely out of contention. Now we are getting the gap back down to 0.5 seconds, as you can see here. Once again, trying to stick to the bottom is proving to be a challenge. I don't really have a set racing line, especially at Motegi, so we once again have a bad exit and the gap opens up. And slipstream around here, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the slipstream effect doesn't really have much of an effect compared to other tracks like Michigan and Indianapolis. I don't know if it's just because it's technically not a super speedway, like those tracks are not really able to go full throttle all the way around. And what kind of makes it more challenging is that when you get into clean air, you're technically not out of the woods yet. This 1 and 2 especially, with how much more loose you have to make the car in order to go through 3 and 4, 1 and 2 kind of feels more like a dirt track. Like you can't turn the wheel all the way or else you're going to get really sideways and potentially spin out at any moment. So once again, that's another spot where I have to be careful with my steering. Into lap 13, and nothing much has really happened in this race, but Garrett Coleman is now on our rear trying to get around us. We're protecting the inside heading into turn 3, trying to protect that inside as much as possible. And once again, because of how the slipstream works, if Garrett gets around us, it'll actually be a bit more difficult for us to like slipstream back pass and do switchbacks. So it just makes it all the more important that we protect that inside. And as we move down again, Garrett Coleman going for the outside move. And this is still going on as the top two, Guillermo and Micah, are still having a heck of a battle. Like they have been inseparable throughout the race, just jousting back and forth, using all sorts of different lanes to try and get past each other. But Guillermo is for now holding his own. Garrett tries another run out of turn 2. Luckily, we move up a bit more to try to get that better entry, and it's going to work out for us, while Garrett kind of washes up. Not really much grip up there compared to the bottom lane, so that's why I'm always trying to stick to the bottom. Once again, protecting the inside into turn 1. Garrett is definitely on us now. And then out of turn 2 again, Garrett using that outside, but we still protect. All while something happens ahead between Guillermo and Micah. I can't really see what happens. I guess there was a little scuffle. I don't know if it had anything to do with his lap car, Billy Haggins, but whatever scuffle they had now results in Micah losing a whole bunch of time in underthread from Daniel Balsa. So now it's a second and third battle instead of first and second. And you can see Micah is just all pissed in the chat, not happy about what happened at all. All while now it's past halfway as we cross the line, and it's still fourth and fifth battle between us and Garrett. But as we have 15 to go, a caution comes out right here, disrupting any battles being had throughout the race. And this is where we now have to think about pit strategy. Of course, 1 and 2 still normal, but with 3 and 4, new tires can definitely help get around this circuit. But it also depends on how many cars come in as well. We take the pit stop to try and use those new tires. Guillermo, who's leading, stays out surprisingly, and Kevin also stays out, who's originally 9th. So most of the grid is going to come in. We're going easy into the box because it's very easy to lock up the brakes. On the oval cars, of course, they're not really made for braking. But Garrett, I guess, just was able to get into his box better or have more grip on his exit, and we just lose a spot right there. All because Garrett had a quicker entry and exit than us. But now we head for the restart. I know we're in 5th, but because of Billy Haggins, for some reason, lining up with us, we're kind of appearing as 6th on the grid, but trust me, we were 5th. And now we have to find a way back past Garrett Coleman, and we already have big gaps forming on the start. Some guys not getting off to a good start at all, and now we have to use these slipstream brakes to get past the car ahead of us. Which we do right here, somehow able to rip the top somewhat to get on the outside of Garrett Coleman. But with the cars weaving ahead, he's going to have a bit of a slipstream advantage over me heading into turn 1, but we're going to try to use the slipstream ourselves through 1 and 2, and once again, Dirty Air catching me off guard again. Could have used a white jacker there to try and mitigate it, but I didn't, and it's going to cost me there. As we once again try to rip that outside, use a better exit to get back behind Garrett, take the slipstream, all while Micah Mixer is down at 6, trying to get past both of us, so this is going to turn into a 3-way battle. Once again on that outside, not able to make things work. Micah now splitting the middle, making it 3 wide. Garrett has the advantage of the turn, but I had the better entry line. So this is going to help me once again get a slightly better exit, while Micah's still able to use the middle, surprisingly, to stay to the inside. And Garrett once again has to worry about blocking both of us. He's going to leave the inside open for Micah. Marco is actually losing some time ahead in third. So once again, his slipstream will also determine how this battle prevails somewhat. We get around Garrett, but we still have to worry about getting around Micah. Once again, snaking the front stretch. Both Marco and Micah side by side again as we enter turn 1. I'm still trying to stick to the slipstream, but it's still very hard to navigate through the dirty air. Trying to use a slight weight jacker increase. I know it's only 1, but I was hoping it can keep me in the battle somewhat. As once again trying to use the outside to get around. I know I said the outside doesn't have that much grip, but when you try to run in the dirty air on the inside, it is very hard to stay down there without the car losing a ton of grip and having to slow down a ton, which of course kills your momentum. And the laps continue to wind down as we're still trying to see who can get the final spot on the podium. Side by side again, having to back off there. And Micah prevails for now, but me and Marco still going hard. Not just for 4th, but also 3rd. I genuinely believe I can still get both positions here if I somehow time my run just right. Here's a run down to the inside. Marco surprisingly backs off there. I didn't expect that. I thought he really wanted to battle for positions as Micah continues to blink ahead. Now inside 4 to go, so now that I have 4th, if I can keep Marco behind me, I can definitely have a fighting chance at the podium. 2 laps to go and time is running out fast. I'm still within about half a second of Micah, but we still need to have the right line through 3 and 4 and get enough slipstream down both the front and back stretch just to try. Once again, try and be inside here, but it's not going to be enough in those turns. I once again wash up a little bit, have to back off to avoid hitting the wall. And the gap once again opens up as we enter the final lap, so chances have gone way down. We're still way ahead of Marco though, so we don't have to worry about losing 4th at all. And as we head towards turn 3, just not close at all there. So again, a lot I have to learn and get used to at the oval at Motegi. But 4th place, still good, even though only 10 cars were in this split. Motegi just isn't a popular track, it looks like, within the Indycar series right now. Only 10 people within a split in the middle of the day. And this was the only split that ran, so Guillermo Miguel 1st, Daniel Balsa 2nd, Micah Mixer 3rd, and that's your podium for this race. And now to the biggest, baddest track of them all, Talladega Superspeedway in Talladega, Alabama. Of course, there is some changes that are supposed to happen to the real-world Talladega races this weekend. There is set to be probably some stage changes, like changing how long the stages are, mainly to prevent fuel saving, because a big issue going on in play racing right now is guys not actually driving and going for it, just staying in the pack and saving fuel. Of course, that could make play racing a lot more boring, but to be honest, no, I don't think changing things with the stages will fix anything, because play racing has a bunch of issues going on. I think like the whole chaos, the big one, and like slingshot novelty of it is basically gone. Like all the excitement is just not there anymore. It's all pretty much the same thing. Just someone slingshots at the end, there's going to be a big wreck, and if it happens too many times, it's of course going to run its course and not be fun to watch anymore. And it hasn't always been like that though with play racing. Of course, in the Gen 4 era, play racing was a lot more of a skill, like navigating the air, timing your run to perfection, and there weren't really any big ones towards the end. Like, sometimes there were, but it felt like play racing was actually like a skill and wasn't a straight up lottery like it is today. So I think what NASCAR should really be looking at is change the racing itself. Basically stop utilizing chaos over actual racing, and maybe make the cars have some handling nuances, and make it a bit harder to drive on the plate racing. Make them have to actually navigate through the air and time their runs, and maybe we can actually have some fun plate racing without needing all sorts of wrecks and big ones. As we complete our first qualifying lap, it was a 54.704. Our second lap will be the actual push lap. Down on turn 4, needing to get as fast of a time as possible. We have to get into the 54.0s to have any shot at the pole. And across the line, it's unfortunately not going to be bad. It's a 54.141, and it puts us down in 5th. It's definitely not a bad qualifying spot. I just wish there was a way to somehow get into the 54.0s like the front runners are, to actually go for the pole. But now the pace car is in. Nathan Barksdale with a 54.049 will be your pole sitter. We'll be lined up right behind him because for some reason the entire second row did not grid up. So we're actually going to start third for this, and it's green flag as the outside doesn't get going at all. And that instantly gives us second, right behind Nathan. Basically prime position for a slingshot towards the end of a race if we have the shot at it. And as we head through 1 and 2, the field starts to turn into a single file race already. It's surprising because usually throughout the race, even though it's early, there's always something going on, but for now there really isn't. It's just me pushing Nathan along in the draft. Steven is going to stay behind. He originally started 7th, but instantly moves up to 3rd thanks to row 2 not starting, and at the outside line just not going at all. Right Couch will be 4th, but Scott Story will be in 5th, so that's your top 5 for now. And as we complete the first lap at Talladega, it is already a very calm race. And it's also unusual because it's not really just bottom splits or top splits that are the problem with chaos. It's usually always happening up and down. Of course, there's always someone going for something, and that finally happens with a wreck in turn 2, and the caution comes out.
That was my fault. I thought I left it.
Now, for the first restart of the race, we'll be lined up on the outside. Right behind us will be Reed Couch pushing us, at least I hope. As the 13 speeds up a little bit, I think above 70 for some reason. I thought you're supposed to get a black flag for that, but I guess he sped up a bit and stayed within the tolerance as someone spins off down in turn 1, way below the apron, so it doesn't bring out a caution. But we still remain in third, which is still a great spot, right behind Steven McClintock. Scott Story will now be in 4th. As we enter lap 9, someone tries to go for a run on the outside. That's Jason Papa in the 15. I'd honestly be shocked if that was his actual last name. Seems like more than ever on iRacing, there's just some interesting names. But we now have to choose between going to the outside and helping them go along, or stick to the inside, as we're kind of not able to react to it as Steven McClintock tries out the outside, wanting to go with them. That puts us back into second, though, as he loses a lot of speed up there. And now we just gotta hope we can keep the 13 pushing, or if the line comes back, we have to decide between staying down in the line stuck, or we can move up, go for the lead early, and just hope that we don't get slingshot around. But the outside line loses a lot of momentum. We're back to single file. Now inside 15 to go. Not only is it past halfway, we're now entering the stage where you're usually going to see a lot of guys try to make some moves. It doesn't get too crazy about this time, but inside 10 laps to go, it usually gets real crazy. And as we have some chat going around, it's still single file though all the way down the back straightaway. No one's really going for moves, which is again surprising. This is a plate track, you expect chaos above all else, but once again, no one's really going for any moves or positions. But without fail, there's always something bound to happen. On the opposite side of the track, there appears to be a wreck, and the caution comes out with 6 to go. So luckily I did my math the first time around when my mic was still muted, but luckily I got this right. Because it's 6 to go, we won't have an overtime restart. We'll stay within the regulation distance on the restart, even though there will only be 2 to go. But since it's within regulation distance, we won't have any overtimes counted. Now, towards the restart zone, we don't know if this will be the final restart or not. And I just have every scenario running through my head. Luckily, the first one I thought of, which was have Nathan get a good restart to where I can jump to the inside immediately. It works, and even though it was a bit aggressive, kind of getting ahead of Scott's story right there, we still take over second for ourselves, and we are still in prime spot for a slingshot. We just gotta hope there's nothing crazy going on behind. No one goes for a move too soon. I can see someone in the back. That's probably Steven trying to go to the outside, trying to get that line going. But nothing's really working right now as we continue to push Nathan Barksdale through 3 and 4. Very soon we're going to take the white flag. And from this point on, its next flag ends the race. Even though cautions under the last lap aren't really a thing on iRacing, it's still not going to prevent guys from making all sorts of moves back there, which is what I expect from a plate track. Nothing against anyone in this race, it's just the nature of the racing. But surprisingly, out of turn 2, everyone is still staying single file. Jason trying to get someone to go high with him, but nothing really happens back there. And as we head from turn 3, this is where I start to prime the slingshot, basically backing off just a little bit, making sure Scott Story does not jump to the outside to jump me. And out of turn 4, we get a good run on Nathan. Move to the outside. We side draft down through the tri-oval, and it's just enough to get past. Another Talladega win here on iRacing Rush. And it kind of sucks, I know, for Nathan to lose a race that way. It's definitely got to be heartbreaking. I've been through that before. But at the end of the day, it's every man for himself out there. And with a fun ending to the race that we had, of course I gotta leave you all with this burnout. And there you have it for this episode of iRacing Rush. Sorry that I couldn't have live commentary, but I promise you next time, I'll have it. So if you want to see more iRacing content like this, please like and subscribe. It'll mean a lot to the channel. See you all another time.